Hello again from my armchair in Normandy. Today we're going to hear the story of Spooky, a ship's cat in World War II. Settle in, get ready. We've got about 40 minutes of reading. Hope you enjoy it. Here we go. Spooky, The Adventures of a Ship's Cat in World War II. I am Spooky. I am a cat, but not just any cat. I am a ship's cat, and not just any ship's cat. I am a ship's cat who went to war. The year is 1942. Europe is at war with Nazi Germany. I work on board a British ship carrying coastal landing craft. It is a type of troop transport ship, and we're fighting for freedom. Freedom is that thing that lets every man, woman, child, and cat live in safe conditions. No one can tell them how to eat, how to dress, what songs to sing, or which books to read. Freedom is a special thing, and it's worth fighting for. I know because I hear the stories told by the soldiers and sailors on the boat where I work. They talk to each other about a man named Adolf Hitler. He took away people's freedom in Holland, France, Belgium, and even in Germany, where he is the chancellor. He wants everyone to do the same as he decides, to think like him. Worse yet, he orders his soldiers to hurt anyone who doesn't act the same way he does. Adolf Hitler wants to crush freedom, and that's a very bad thing indeed. So, I went to work like so many others from different countries around the world. We don't agree with the Nazis who follow Adolf Hitler. We are a team of allies. We have decided to stop Adolf Hitler so that freedom may once again spread through Europe. We want people to live in peace and safety. The difference is that I'm a cat and a female. But that's not a problem because I work hard just like the soldiers. Yes, I have a job. I keep the men's food safe from vermin. That means mice, rats, or even birds, which can eat human food or contaminate it by leaving their waste behind in the food storage areas. It's a hard job, and sometimes it can be dangerous. Most of the seagulls who try to steal food through the ship's portholes are much bigger than I am. They try to peck at me when I defend the food. They swoop down and cry out, flapping their wings, hitting me to chase me away. But I stand strong, hiss, and spit at them. If they come too close, I swat them away with my paws. Those who do find out that I'm very good at standing on my back paws and balancing. Rats are dangerous too. Once I tried to chase a rat away from the butter vat. He bit me when I swatted at him. My paw got infected, and the ship's medic had to clean it with mercurochrome. That stung. Then he bandaged my paw and put me on a blanket in my hammock. I was very sick. I had a fever and was too tired to eat. The men came by to see me one by one. They tried to feed me bits of tuna or chicken. They stroked my head and scratched my chin. I love that. They wanted to make me feel better. Now, I know how important my job is. If I hadn't chased away the rat, the one who bit me, he could have poisoned the food my soldier friends eat. They would get sick too. Then they wouldn't be able to fight Adolf Hitler's soldiers. We work together as a team, helping each other. I am part of that team. A small part, but now I know how much I count. I'm proud of my job. In just a short time, I was feeling much better and went back to roaming through the gangways of the ship, searching in every hidden corner. Each morning, I hop out of my hammock at first bell and start out on the lower decks. I inspect all the doors to the storage areas, checking to see if they're shut. If one of them is open, then I know there might be an intruder inside, eating the food and poisoning it with waste. I especially like spending time in the galley. But look over there! The door to the vegetable storeroom is open! I slip quietly through the opening and hide beneath the shelf. Then I wait. I must be very quiet. If I hear a noise, like paper rustling or cans bumping into one another, then I know for certain an intruder is there. Loud noises come from around the corner. Thump, thump, then a loud bang! It's time for me to attack whatever's in there. I'm a little afraid because whatever it is must be pretty big to make such loud noises. I crouch and stalk, one paw at a time, to the corner of the shelf. The intruder is very close. One more step, and I'll see who it is. My fur stands on end and my tail twitches. I'm ready to pounce at any second. Ready, steady, go! I rush around the corner, leap onto my back paws, claws on my forefeet out, and ready to attack. Psst! I hiss at the intruder. What the? Hey, Spooky! It's just me, Cook. Come down, little girl. Wait, it's just my friend dropping onions off the shelf into a big cooking pan. He's the one making all that noise. He's the one who opened the door. Whew. All that excitement for nothing. I can relax. All is well. But now I've frightened him with my vigorous attack, so I wind between his feet, purring. He smiles and pats me on the head. You're a fierce little girl. That was awfully impressive. Even if it was a false alert, I've done my job. As I make my way up to the main deck, I can see that there is some commotion today. We've pulled up to the dock in Portsmouth in the south of England. There are lots of new soldiers climbing aboard, bringing guns and heavy boxes of ammunition. Something important is taking place. I can feel it. I stand by the top of the gangplank at attention, greeting the new soldiers. Most of them wear Canadian uniforms. They're a different color from the Royal Navy boys I'm used to. They have different accents when speaking, too. Still, most of them stoop over and give me a quick stroke on the back as they go by. The line of men is very long, stretching down the dock. Our ship is going to be full to the gills. I can see a group of British Royal Commandos, too, and with them are some U.S. Rangers. What a surprise! They've got a different accent, too. Some of them are from Texas. Hey there, Puss. Aren't you a nice greeter? Hey, Eddie, there's a cat on board. Aw, and a sweet girl she is, too. Once everyone is on board, we inch away from the quay. It's already late at night. The soldiers are sitting in small groups on the top deck. Soon we're at sea. I wander through the men, enjoying a pat here and there. They're talking amongst themselves. No one is sleepy. I hear someone say that we've got a few hours left before we reach the French coast. Wait, what? We're going to France? That's where the enemy soldiers are. This means we're headed into battle. I listen closely to the conversations, trying to figure out what's going on. When I hear some Canadians, I stop to pay attention. You know, this is the first time that any large group of Allied soldiers is attacking the Nazis on European soil. I'm awfully proud to be part of this, aren't you, Renee? I sure am. If we can wreck some of the defense bunkers the Germans have put up along the beach in Dieppe, then we'll know exactly how and where to attack when we launch a full-out assault later on. So, you think this is kind of a trial run? Asks Robert. Yep, Winston Churchill wants to know more about the port defenses. That way he can decide where to attack occupied Europe. And it won't be long before more of the American army shows up to lend a hand, explains Renee. What do you mean? There are already Yanks with us. Yeah, but not very many. The Rangers who are here on board are training under the British commandos. The Allied army is going to need a lot more well-trained men if we're going to finish off the Nazis. Yeah, I guess you're right. The Nazis aren't going to just give up, are they? Both Renee and Robert stop talking. They look worried about the battle to come. I can understand why. Goodness, this is a very important mission we're on. That adds a new twist to my job. These soldiers need to keep their spirits up. I know. I'll get them to play with me. To start out the game, I choose a ranger who's writing a letter. With my claws tucked in, I pounce on his hand. He's surprised, but laughs at me. Hey, kitty, you're messing up my handwriting. You want to play, don't you? And that's how several of the soldiers end up on all fours chasing me around the deck. I swat their pencils and pull at the cords on their packs, anything to get their attention. The others watch us laughing. This is what I wanted. They're going off to war where they'll have plenty of serious times ahead of them. If I can help them have a little fun now, well, that's just perfect. When our convoy of ships comes close to the coast, the landing craft are lowered into the water. The soldiers begin to climb down inside. I make a big decision. They'll need my moral support during the dangerous hours ahead, so I leap into the small boat. Oh no, kitty, you're not coming along. Hands pass me from one soldier to the next until I'm back on the ship. But I am a stubborn cat. I'm waiting until everyone is in the landing craft and they cast off. Okay, looks like the last man is in. I flex the muscles of my back legs, swing my tail out, and give a huge push off the deck. Woohoo! I'm flying. Almost as well as those nasty seagulls. Landing isn't so great. The boat was farther away than I thought, and I hit the bottom in a not very dignified tumble. It doesn't matter. I'm on board now, and they can't take me back. I'm with my friends, and we're going towards the shore together. Hey, Eddie, did you see this crazy cat? She really wants to come with us. Silly kitty, I think you're making a big mistake. He pats my back as he's talking to me, and I purr in response. Well, Mike, she's a brave little girl, but this is pretty dangerous. Now, guys, keep your heads down. The enemy is going to start firing at us pretty soon. Sure enough, loud cannon noises mix with the noises from the boat engines. It sounds like a terrible thunderstorm. I take a peek over the edge and see the shoreline light up at regular intervals. That must be our Navy's cannons firing on enemy positions. Above our heads, our Allied fighter planes, called Spitfires, circle like hawks. A cloud of German planes is speeding toward them. Suddenly, our Spitfires open their machine guns, and the airplanes fly off in every direction. Instead of flying in formation, the planes are zooming everywhere, crossing paths with each other. It's almost like a dance and could be beautiful if it wasn't so deadly. All around us, we hear boom, boom, booming. Enemy cannons are firing at us, and sprays of water splash nearby. They're aiming at us, and we're not anywhere near the shoreline, shouts Mike. Keep your heads down, don't look overboard. You'll see your enemy soon enough, yells the head officer. Our little landing craft sways from side to side, making the soldiers fall to their knees. I lose my balance, too. There are huge waves all around us from cannon shells exploding in the water. The Allied boats are pitching and swirling like leaves in a windstorm. I'm beginning to think coming along wasn't a great idea. I decide to stay close to Mike and Eddie. They're hanging onto the side of the craft to keep from falling. Big splashes of water come over the side, and everyone is soaking wet. Our boat sure seems a lot smaller out here in the open sea. This is certainly not a safe place for anybody, soldier or cat. A huge crash knocks me down. The back of our boat has been hit. The engine fuel catches fire and pours across the floor. The head officer yells out, "Abandon ship! Right away! Abandon ship!" Soldiers jump into the water and begin to swim away from the fire on our boat. Sorry, kitty, you're going overboard too. Hands grab me, and suddenly I'm flying through the air. Meow! My claws are out, and my paws are stretched out, but I can't fly. I fall smack into the sea on my belly. Cold salt water fills my nose and mouth. It stings my eyes, but without thinking, all four of my legs start to paddle, and I hold my breath. The surface seems far above me, but soon I reach the top and swallow a huge gulp of air. I meow as loud as I can before a wave pushes me under. I can't see a thing, but my legs are still moving. I'm fighting to reach the surface again. Another breath, another meow, and then another wave. I go under once again, but this time I realize that I know how to swim. I wonder how that happened. No one's ever taught me. But here I am, back at the surface and using my tail like a rudder to turn around in circles, looking for help. To the right, I see a soldier in the water, and he's wearing a life jacket. If only he'll wait for me. I meow as loud as I possibly can. He looks back at me. He hears me. He stops swimming, and I catch up very quickly. I can't hold on to you, cat. You'll just have to hang on however you can. His helmet has netting all over the top. The netting is usually for holding twigs and leaves as camouflage. Well, I figure that netting is good enough to hold a cat, too. I dig the claws on my forelegs into the netting and use my back legs to keep swimming. Off we go, headed for a landing craft coming to rescue us. Pretty soon we're hauled aboard one of the seaworthy landing craft. In spite of the danger all around us, the sailors who drag us over the side have a sense of humor. They're teasing us as we collapse, exhausted onto the floor of the boat. Looks like you got yourself a stowaway. My friendly Canadian has just enough strength left for a smile. As for me, I'm frozen and shivering so much that I can't even move a whisker. Someone tries to pry my feet off the soldier's head. The sailors see that I'm so cold that I cannot withdraw my claws. So they simply take the helmet off the Canadian and place it on the deck. My feet are still hooked in the netting. We're wrapped in woolen blankets, my Canadian friend, his helmet, and me. He slides over closer to me and rubs my fur to help me warm up. You know, Kitty, you were awfully brave out in that water. When I saw you swimming towards me with that determined look in your eye, I was afraid you'd scratch me to ribbons. But no, you're a smart cat. You knew that I could only help you if you stayed calm. Good job, Furball. His sing-song accent is comforting to me. He seems like a nice young man. Very young, in fact. If I could speak, I'd ask him his age. He can't be much older than a teenager. Still, he called me a furball. I must look terrible. Little by little, my paws begin to tingle as the blood flows back into them. I can move my toes and retract my claws. Finally, I can climb down off that helmet. Now I just have to do a gigantic fur shake to rid myself of this awful salt water. Hey, you're getting me even wetter, cat. Knock it off, he laughs. But this feels so good that I must do it again and again. I'm feeling a bit better now, more like a cat. So I rub up against him to thank him for all he's done before settling down for a well-deserved bath. After all, cats are known for their cleanliness. All around us, men are being dragged from the sea, soaked and sometimes wounded. The news from the beach is bad. Things did not go as planned for the Allies. To save as many soldiers as possible, the call for retreat to England has been sent out. We're leaving, and fast. Except, all of a sudden, the noise of an aerial combat reaches our ears. It's taking place directly overhead. A German fighter plane is chasing an Allied Spitfire, leaving behind a long trail of dark smoke. Another burst of gunfire from the German plane hits the side of the Allied plane. It begins to fall from the sky. Our eyes are glued to the battle above us. Luckily, the pilot has ejected and is floating gently down to sea in his parachute. A shout of joy echoes over the water. Let's go, fellas. We have to reach him before something else happens to this poor guy. The boat driver spins the wheel and our boat changes direction. We're off as fast as we can. His parachute can drag him underwater if we don't hurry. When we reach the parachute floating on the water like a giant jellyfish, no one can see the pilot. One of our soldiers reaches out his rifle to hook the soaking cloth of the parachute and haul it in. Everyone on board grabs a bit and pulls, searching for the man hidden underneath. I pull on a corner with my teeth. A leather aviator's hat appears in the folds of the cloth. The pilot blinks at us through his flight goggles. He seems a little dizzy and confused. No wonder after a fall like that. Climb aboard, friend. You're safe now. Who are you? Asked the lieutenant, clearly a bit dazed. And where am I? Well, listen to that. He's an American. Several of our soldiers grab him under the arms and hoist him over the side by his flight jacket. He slides onto the floor of the boat like a gigantic fish. I can help here. A few licks of my tongue will surely revive him. Ouch! Who's that wiping my face with sandpaper? You Canadian guys need to invest in softer towels. Apparently, our pilot friend is doing fine. Here, drink up and stop complaining. That's our ship's cat wishing you a warm welcome. A hot cup of tea is placed in the pilot's hands, which are blue and shaking with cold. And this is for you, Mademoiselle Pussycat, some warm milk. A mug which smells absolutely wonderful appears beneath my nose. I take a deep breath. Mmm. The American with the blanket over his shoulder turns to me and says, "Here's to your health, Miss Ship's Kitty." The motor hums, and we turn toward England and home. The crossing takes a long time. Everyone is calmed down and is quiet. To one side of the deck, two men are whispering about what they saw. I come closer to listen. I want to know what went wrong, too. What rotten luck! If those German boats hadn't seen our convoy coming, we could have surprised them. That's why we were crossing the English Channel at night, so they wouldn't see us. His friend replies, "Yeah, blast it all, you're right. And then those German planes showed up, making it harder for our planes to help us out on the beach. And what about our tanks? Yeah, I saw that too. That beach was much too steep for our tanks to make it up the hill. They just got stuck on the bottom and couldn't shoot at any of the big German cannons." He hangs his head frustrated. You know, sometimes it seems like everything just goes wrong. I think today was one of those days. I'm afraid you're right. I just hope the officers learned something from what happened to Diane. Yeah, me too. They stopped talking, both of them looking very sad. The soldiers are most certainly thinking about what happened on the beach and about their friends who didn't get away. Some are probably taken prisoner. Some might be wounded, and some of them might be dead. As I wander amongst the small groups of men sitting on the ground, sometimes I get a pat or two. Mostly the atmosphere is very different from when we played on the deck on the way over. Now we understand what it's like to go into battle. We've met the enemy, and we know that it isn't going to be easy to win this war against the Nazi army. The sun is setting when we arrive in New Haven, England. There's a lot of activity on the quay. It sounds like everyone is talking at the same time. There are so many questions, but no answers. Did you see Private Martin? And what about Stevens? Did he get on your boat? Is my friend Fred with you guys? I can't find my brother Michael. You didn't see what happened to him, did you? So many people lost. During roll call, there are terrible silences when no one answers. A red mark is placed next to the names of those missing in action. It's a very long list with many, many red marks. The officers have a lot of work to do. They go off to discuss what happened. There are important lessons to learn about what should be done next time and what should never be tried again. The soldiers, in the meantime, need to eat, rest, and have their wounds tended. I have to get back to my job. The work of a good ship's cat is never over. As I'm strolling back up the quay toward my ship, I hear footsteps coming up behind me. Hey, Cat! Spooky! I recognize the sing-song voice of my Canadian swimming partner. He scoops me up in his arms. Stay here with me for a minute. Some other Canadian soldiers, along with Mike and Eddie and the American pilot, catch up to us. My Canadian puts me down gently on the dock and kneels next to me. We have decided that you deserve a Medal of Honor for the way you behaved today, Kitty. Here's a new collar that you can be proud to wear, Miss Spooky. He fastens a silky red ribbon around my neck. On it hangs a beautiful bronze star. He rises and takes a very serious pose. For Miss Spooky, who showed courage and calm under fire. Then he snaps a salute, just like the kind of salute a true military officer would get. Hip hip hooray! Congratulations, Miss Spooky. One by one, the soldiers salute me before bending down to scratch my chin. I'm purring as hard as I can, almost choking with pride and happiness. These brave young men risked their lives today, and they've honored me with the medal. Me, a ship's cat. I know I will never forget this day. I know in my heart that sometime soon we will work together as a team to kick Adolf Hitler's Nazi army out of Europe. We can bring peace back to those who have lost it. As for me, Spooky, ship's cat first class, I'll be there to help out. There, the end. I hope you enjoyed this story of Spooky, who, when times became very difficult, learned the valuable lesson of teamwork. So, hope to see you again for another story in the collection Tales of War.